TitleMatchNetwork.com.
WWF, for the first time that I know of, actually responds to a rival company and creates vignettes where they call you Scheme Gene. Huckster and the Nacho Man. Now, to my knowledge, this is the first time the WWF has ever even acknowledged another company exists on air, as far as I know. And the way they did it, I mean, it was very, very well done, comical. You are attacked, Scheme Gene. Were you hurt? Were you offended?
No, because that became part of the Monday Night Wars.
Right.
And Eric Bischoff wasn't exactly a total gentleman when he came on the air live and said the tape show that's running against us on USA is Monday Night Raw, and so-and-so has already won the title that was taped 2 weeks ago.
Right. Now, your hotline. Talk about the evolution of that. You took it over. It was pretty much not a moneymaker.
It was not. It was doing less than $500,000 a year.
Right. So it's talking that you're going to give away inside secrets. It's a whole deal. Like, how much input did you have cultivating the hotline?
I had all the input.
100%?
100%. I did one night get at $1.99 for the first minute.
Oh, I know.
Right.
Yeah, my parents saw it every month.
But I had made the announcement that, sorry to report, a 45-year-old former heavyweight champion has died. That story and more on my hotline report tonight.
Right.
Did it? Well, everybody thought it was Ric Flair. We had 160,000 calls. I mean, that was a 500,000 or more, 750,000 in one night.
Now that being said, did you ever feel to do a little sensationalizing in your stories to generate the money?
Well, of course. Yeah, everything was pumped up a little bit.
Right.
The death was actually Jerry Blackwell.
Right.
Who was a big AWA star.
I remember.
For a long time.
I think I heard that on the 15th minute of the call.
Yeah, right. 16th minute.
Yeah.
You fell for it too. No, I'm kidding.
Of course, I'm a mark.
Yeah.
So okay, well, so you don't feel offended, and the war is on. So you are standing in the ring, probably, arguably, doing one of the most important interviews in the history of professional wrestling, as Hulk Hogan turns to the dark side, forms NWO. You're standing in the ring during that moment. Describe that moment.
With a piece of celery sticking out of my left ear. You know, I actually got hit by a half a can of beer that somebody tossed into the ring. Got me right across the bridge of the nose, and because of that, they couldn't do any tight shots. I was gigged wide open.
Right, the hard way.
Yeah, hard way.
So now, is this, obviously you know this is going to be a big deal. Do you talk to Hulk beforehand?
No.
No.
And I should say something about myself. I think I always did a little better listening to the talent when we were doing the interview instead of trying to plan something in advance.
Right.
It just came off a lot more spontaneous.
Right.
It was so natural. And you'll have to admit, with all that garbage in that ring and seeing those animals standing there, that was impressive.
It was, in my opinion, the most important interview and moment in the history of pro wrestling. It changed the business forever.
How many questions did I ask?
I think you made statements. You didn't ask questions.
5.
Right.
That was it.
But
Hulk Hogan, what are you doing?
Right. And you said, look at this crap in the ring. This crap represents these fans.
Yes.
That's when
somebody got a nice garden. Or had one.
Right. So the feeling you got, the interview's over, Hulk Hogan's now a bad guy, you walk to the back. Do you have any talks whatsoever with Hulk? Do you talk about what just happened?
In passing, I think he said to me, he said, Gino, brother, what did you think? And I said, obviously something worked. and it did,
Right.
because that's the day the earth stood still.
Now, before that, did you think it was a mistake?
Would I say it's a mistake?
Well, in retrospect.
Before, I think it was time for Hogan to turn.
Okay.
You know, he had to forget about merchandise. However, the NWO merchandise, ask Kevin Nash, Scott Hall.
Now, do you think Hogan thought he made a mistake? Or was about to make a mistake? Obviously, it worked. So it's easy to say, I didn't make a mistake after. But do you think going in, did you think he thought he was making a mistake?
You know, I wouldn't be able to honestly answer that question for you, because I'm sure that guys in this business, you know, double think themselves, both before and after.
Right.
And I'm sure that Hogan probably had some reservations, some afterthoughts. Was it the right thing? Well, whatever you do, it's the right thing.
Right.
Even if it's wrong, you did it because you were convinced that it needed to be done.
Right.
That move, that interview, that explosion that took place down at the beach in Daytona at the Ocean Center was a big frickin' deal.
Sure was. Do you consider
it turned the business around?
And you can, how it doesn't happen. You can count how many times does that happen. Did you realize what you were in the middle of at the time?
Well, at the time, too late to get the hell out of there. There was one microphone.
Right. So the whole thing explodes. Now WCW is off to the races. Does it, and it's already, as you said, not really honed and not really run correctly like a machine. But after this, it seems to go to another thing where the NWO has got 1 million members. It's completely out of control within a year.
Yeah, everything moved way too fast for 1-2 hour show.
Right. Now, is that leadership? Now, if we have to blame somebody, is Eric Bischoff to blame for letting it get out of control?
I think the talent in WCW during the NWO era had way too much input. They had creative control of themselves.
Right.
And this was the thing that Eric kind of got butchered on after the fact, that now all of a sudden Bret Hart can call his spot, Roddy Piper, Randy Savage, Hulk Hogan, of course.
Right.
But I mean, everybody. Now you've got 25 guys that you've got to satisfy, and their egos have to be fed, as well as their pocketbooks.
Right.
So a lot of things to factor in there.
Sure.
I think it could have been a little cleaner, a little more concise, but not quite so fast where all of a sudden the NWO is bigger than all of WCW.